My life up to this point can be summarized as me doing everything I possibly can to improve my life in as many ways as I possibly can. It's mentally, physically, spiritually, all of it. I have read so many books, I have watched so many and listened to so many different podcasts, and I've taken more notes than probably most humans ever will in their entire life. And lots of these things are things that I wish I knew so much earlier, just little things about life and about yourself and about the world that if someone had told me, as a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid, I think my life would have been a lot better than it was. And I'm not saying I had a bad life or anything. Like I went to school, I went to a high school, college, and then I was in fraternity. But where I would be right now, just physically, mentally, and just everything and how I am as a person, I would not be where I am without some of these things that I'm about to share today. And I can't even explain how many notes I went through, every single one of them, all of my notes, and I kind of picked and pulled from. I kind of narrowed it down to like 12 or 13 key points that I want to talk about. And I'm probably missing something that I'll bring up in a future video, but I did a lot of things that, were not, I don't know if I'd call them wrong, but I mean, they are wrong, right? Like things that I used to do that just weren't the best, things that just I shouldn't be doing. And the first thing I'm going to say, you should never let yourself complain. Never let anybody hear you complain. And I mean like you yourself and other people, because when you complain about anything, if it's about the weather or your circumstances or whatever it is, you're essentially admitting to yourself that you have no control over your life. Even it's just about the littlest things. Like, my back hurts, or the weather is so shitty, or And you'll notice if you're around these people, it's like they're not fun to be around. And when you complain, it's just like I don't want to be around you either. You have to realize that instead of complaining, like lots of the things that you complain about, they might not be in your control, which is fine. A lot of things aren't in your control. But if something is in your control, then there's absolutely no reason to complain about it. Because if you don't like something about like your situation or your scenario or whatever, you can change it. Why would you complain? Because you can fix it, right? And if you don't like something that you can't fix, if you're in a situation that is unfixable by you, it's not under your control, why would you complain? You can't fix it, right? Don't complain. And also don't gossip. Don't talk behind people's backs. Don't talk about people. Even like people that are, I guess you could call like celebrities. Talk about things that are important. If you really think about it, people might get offended by this, but there are so many people, especially I feel like, I don't know, not even a specific age group, but I say lots of teenagers for sure, but also people that are older, they love talking about what other people are doing. They never talk about what they're doing or what their, family is doing. It's always about what this football team is doing, what this athlete's doing, what this celebrity is doing. That's essentially gossiping. People that gossip are another group of people that I just don't like to be around, and I don't think you would like to be around either. They get all of their like happiness and all their fulfillment from talking or bringing down other people, which is just such a terrible, it's just pointless. If you're in a friend group that's all they do, they just get, their entire life revolves around talking about other people. Find some new friends, or at least tell them to just like shut the fuck up, every once in a while, and talk about things that are important. Talk about yourself. Talk about things that you're doing, you're trying to do. I mean, that is the most constructive thing you can do. When you just waste your time talking about what everyone else is doing, it's just dumb. The next thing I want to say is everything starts and ends in the mind. When I tell you I had no idea what or how important it was to have an independent mind, free of what everyone else is telling you, like your belief system is incredibly important. I cannot stress that enough, because so many people nowadays have opinions on everything. Everybody's got an opinion because opinions are free. But the thing is, when you have all these different opinions, especially as a young kid being shoved in your ears essentially, it's super easy to adopt the beliefs and kind of adopt those same opinions, especially if it's like your friends or your family. But what you got to understand is that lots of the things, if you're in your teenage years, whatever, you're going to have lots of things like basically shoved in your face that are not in your best interest. If you have a big goal or a big dream or something that you want to do, or just a different kind of belief system than your family or friends, like that is okay. If you have the same opinions and the same beliefs as everybody else, you're just going to end up exactly like everybody else. Which brings me to this next point, which is if you would not take their advice, don't listen to their criticisms. And this also applies to friends and family, because I know you probably love your parents and you love your friends and you love your family, but if you really think about the lives that they're living and you come to the conclusion that you would not want to live that life, then if they criticize you ever, or if they tell you that you shouldn't do something, I mean, there's levels to this. Obviously, I'm not going to say like if you're causing a ruckus in the kitchen, like breaking plates, and they tell you not to. I mean, that's different. Essentially, what I'm saying is if you would not take somebody's advice, if somebody is not living a life that you would want to live, don't pay attention to when they criticize you, because people are going to criticize you no matter what you do. It's unavoidable almost, especially if you are doing something that is risky or requires you to put yourself out there. But I'm just saying, if you would not want to live the life of somebody who's criticizing you, then there's no reason to listen to it. Because I just had so much trouble dealing with people who would, try and tell me how I should be living my life or what I should do, and I never even realized that like I didn't want to live like them. I didn't want to live their life, so I should not listen to their advice or criticisms. Learn how to fight. There's all sorts of different like martial arts out there. There's boxing, there's Muay Thai, there's jiu-jitsu, like any sort of, I don't even care which one it is. Knowing how to fight gives you a sense of confidence that cannot be replaced. I'm not saying go out and look for fights. Also, I'm saying train hard. I played football and baseball in high school, and then after that I went into powerlifting. I didn't like that, and I needed something to compete in. And I think that is so important to have, because after I was done competing in sports and like powerlifting or whatever, my training, I didn't want to admit it, but it was not the same. Because before, I had something that I was thinking about all the time. It's like I have a football game coming up, or I have a baseball game, or I have a powerlifting meet, and I would be training that much harder because it kind of just drove me to just push as hard as I can, because I know if I don't, then I'm going to get exposed when it comes to time to perform, right? I picked up boxing over the last year or so, and I know some people are going to say like Muay Thai is better, MMA, there's anything. I don't care what it is. I just think having this ability, having this skill gives you such an edge. You're going to become an absolute physical specimen. It's going to test you mentally, and it's uncomfortable. If you've never fought before, it is going to test you in every single way possible, because you probably have a little bit of fear building up, and it might make you nervous, it might make you uncomfortable, but it's exactly what you want. Lean into your nature. Lean into your nature. What I mean by this, if you have a certain style or you have things about you that make you unique, lean into them. Never try and suppress them. If you like to dress a certain way, or you like to talk a certain way, or you think a certain way, don't let anybody else persuade you or tell you why that's wrong. Because those things, probably things that you might think are your weaknesses, those are your strengths. I'm somebody who basically played every single position in football and baseball. And I never really had one position that I was really, really good at that I could just focus on super hard. And I almost felt like it was weird. I also didn't have any idea what I wanted to do with my life. Like, I still don't sometimes, but in high school, especially, like people were applying to colleges, and like I was like, I never felt, really compelled and driven towards one thing and anything. And I thought for the longest time that this was a weakness, but it is probably it's my biggest strength. The things that make you unique, the things that make you stand out, you should absolutely double down on those. Because those things, even though they might seem weird or whatever, nobody else has them like you do. You have your own unique combination of skills and gifts and quirks that make you unique, and you need to lean into them, because if you suppress them, the opportunities that would come from embracing those things are not going to come up. They're not going to present themselves in front of you. Don't try and be somebody you're not, is what I'm saying. Embrace who you are and the parts of yourself that might be rejected by lots of people. Maybe you are in a scenario where it's like you don't feel like you fit in somewhere because you act a certain way, or you look a certain way, or whatever, or you have certain interests that are unconventional. Don't sacrifice those. Don't suppress those because they don't fit in whatever environment you're in right now. Embrace them and just trust that eventually that you will find the people that appreciate them, and you will find the opportunities and the vessel to use those things in. Do not believe in anything that makes you weaker. Never buy into something that does not benefit you. Whenever you say the words I am whatever, that can either be a good thing or a bad thing. Lots of people, the most commonly used phrase, it seems like nowadays, is I am anxious or I am depressed. But what happens when you say I am is permanent, right? I am something. I am Kendall. I am white. All right? It's permanent. Those are things that are permanent. And so when you say I am whatever, you're basically telling yourself that whatever that is permanent and you cannot change it. So if you say I am anxious and I am depressed, you're basically just telling yourself that your anxiety and depression are permanent. And I don't condone this at all. If you're going to say I am, make it something good. I am strong. I am whatever. Make it something good. And if you have to talk about anxiety or depression, which I choose not to believe in, but if you do have to talk about something like that, don't never say I am. Say I tend to be. I tend to be depressed, or I tend to be anxious. Prioritize who you are over how you look. And this is going to sound controversial, but when I say this, I don't mean don't prioritize your health or don't prioritize your hygiene or, the gym. Go to the gym, fucking train as hard as you can, get jacked, like do all that stuff. But never expect your appearance to make up for a shitty character. 5 years ago, I would have been like, fuck you, dude. What are you talking about? Because all I would do is just, go to the gym and just lift so much weight and just try and look as good as I possibly can. But I never even was able to account for my shitty character, my personality, which was not good. Like looks maxing now is very popular. But what these guys don't understand is that, okay, you can look however maxed you want. If you don't have a personality or a character that is admirable and honorable, nothing else matters. You're not going to be able to get the girl that you want just by looking a certain way. They look deeper than that. People look deeper than just what you present at the surface. So yes, prioritize your health and your hygiene and go to the gym and do everything you can to look as good as you can, but never expect that to overcompensate or make up for what's on the inside. Listen to your gut feeling, your intuition over everything else. And your intuition and your gut feeling is something that takes a long time to develop, but once you develop it and once you learn how to listen to it, almost never listen to anything else. And your intuition, your gut feeling is when you feel a certain way, your mind will tell you sometimes what's logical, what is what seems like the right thing to do, but then your gut will tell you what feels right. And you'll notice as your gut and your intuition gets stronger is that it's rarely ever wrong. When you are really tuned into your intuition and your gut feeling, there's almost nothing like it. If you've experienced any sort of intuitive feeling before, like you felt like you should do a certain thing and you couldn't really rationally explain why you felt that way, but you just did, and so you did it. I mean, there might be times where it is wrong, but a strong intuition, a strong sense of just a strong gut feeling, there is nothing in the world that beats it. And I'm telling you, whenever your mind and your gut are competing with each other, I mean, it's going to be hard to tell which one to listen to, but most of the time it's going to be your gut. I would say majority of the time. But there's also times when your mind and your gut are on the same exact page. And that might be with your career or just a goal that you have or something. And that is the sign that you should absolutely go. If your mind and your heart are aligned, that is the key to life, I think. If what you feel is the right thing to do and what you know or what you think is the right thing to do are both the same, go. And the last thing I will say is that your best friend and your greatest enemy are both yourself. And I think you can probably understand what I mean by this. But the only person that is going to be able to push you to where you need to go is yourself. But also the only person who is able to stop you from going wherever you need to go is yourself. You cannot blame anybody else for anything else in your life. Take responsibility for everything in your life. Make everything your fault. Failures, your fault. Successes, your fault. If you can take accountability for everything and understand that you are the only person that can cause you to fail and cause you to succeed, life becomes so much simpler because you don't get caught up blaming external circumstances. And, if you're in a bad situation and you are blaming somebody else for putting you there, you're basically subconsciously expecting someone else to get you out, but no one's getting you out. You are the only person that's going to get you out. You have to take responsibility for where you are in life so that you can take responsibility for where you go. You have the power to achieve anything you want. Did you know that? You do now. But please trust me when I say that the person you see in the mirror is your greatest ally and your greatest enemy. Do everything you can to outwork that dude. Do everything you can to one-up that version of yourself from yesterday. And if you can do that, you're going to be cool. You're going to be fine. You're going to be great, actually. And I wish that was something that I used to blame everybody else except for myself for why I wasn't succeeding or why I was fucking up. But once I began to realize that I have control over my life, I'm responsible for my failures and I'm responsible for my successes and my wins, everything changed. So I hope you enjoyed this video. That was just like 13, 14 short things that I really wish I knew as a teenager. I'm in my early 20s now, so luckily I do know these things. But like I said, notes are great. I've taken so many notes, but notes and information don't mean anything unless you can absorb it and actually apply it. So I hope you can do that with this video and the things that I've talked about. But no, I'm not doing that shit. Leave some comments, ask questions, subscribe, all that stuff. Peace out.